while and it just hadn't lined up.
I know. We run into each other about every month and say, hey, we're going to get together and talk and shoot stuff. And then it never happens because we, adult life, man.
It happens, man. It's one of those things, dude. Well, just to give some people some intro of how I know you, I mean, it's just been dated back to, I guess, when I started training, and I guess that would have been 2010 or something like that.
Yeah.
And at that time, you were fighting. What year did you start fighting?
2010 is when I had my first fight.
Okay, so it was around that time, because I didn't have my first fight till 2012. If you don't count like BS boxing matches, my first MMA fight at 2012. But I believe that's right when you're starting. It's around the time I started training.
Because I think 2010 or 2011 is when I had my first fight. So somewhere around then, you take enough head kicks, it gets kind of blurry.
So and you transitioned into just full-blown jiu-jitsu now. Yeah. And so, man, so just what's going on with you, man? Tell me how you got into all this stuff.
Man, well, growing up, you probably grew up similar I did. We're all kind of from rural areas, me being over in East Texas. We always, when little boys ain't got nothing to do, we wrestle each other. We didn't have, you're at that age, you probably didn't have a smartphone when you was a kid, and I didn't either. So you had to make your own entertainment, and you and your buddies, when you're little kids, you just start wrestling, and then your parents get on to you because somebody's going to get hurt, and you fall off, hit the coffee table, stuff like that. So, and then, of course, I was a big wrestling fan as a kid, as most little boys in the South are, like WWE, WCW. It took years before we realized that was a performance, although it's still a very dangerous performance. And then, the 2000s are all around, and we start seeing these people fighting each other, fist fighting each other in their underwear in a cage. And I was like, man, I can do that. I'm tough. I just some, goofy old, half cowboy from East Texas. I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. And then I literally just walked in the door one day and told my wife, I said, we watch all the fights all the time. I said, I think I'm gonna try to do it. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I think I can do it. I said, I'm gonna try to find a gym around here. This is Shreveport. It's a big town considering where I'm from. There's got to be somewhere to train. And started Googling this, that, and the other, and then fast forward 16 years later, I'm sitting here.
Yeah. And so you had, how many fights did you have? MMA?
11 or 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't win enough of them, that's for sure.
Oh, me either, man. We had them, though.
I had them. I got in there and got kicked in the face while people bought a ticket to see it. So it was still, I'd say it's a fun ride, but there's a lot of not fun moments in it, but and definitely I like to have stories to tell, so I have a bunch, some stories you can tell, some stories you can't tell, some you can't exactly remember correctly, but it's, when you're living life, it's something, that's something to be proud of. I had a losing record overall. I can't lie about that. Anybody can look it up on the internet, but I tell people all the time, I was like, I've gotten knocked out in front of my mom and my wife before. Ain't much you gonna do to embarrass me. That's about as embarrassing as it gets. So it definitely teach you like how to not let this little old other stuff in life bother you too much. Yeah, man. I think you were doing it. You were working full time and doing it too. Correct. Like I was. So like it was different. Like I guess for me, I always had this conversation with people. It's like I just had Danger on recently before we retired. And like that was his full-time gig, and like those people, I envied them sometimes because I'm like, man, I just like, and it was I was jealous of them at that time because it's like, dude, I'm working a full-time job and I know like I don't want to dedicate my life to fighting, but I enjoy doing it. And then it got to a point where it's like, okay, I'm almost knocking the door at 30. I'm like, okay, this is probably gonna be the last one, and it'd be like I would train full on for a year or two, fight, get in the groove, and then life would happen, and I'd be, and then I wouldn't train for months and months, and I don't know if your road was like that, but that seemed to be how mine was, Yeah, I was. I've always had a full-time job too, ever since I got out of trade school, and so I was trying to be a up-and-coming MMA fighter and then working a full-time job on top of that. And I'm like you, I was jealous of them young guys. Like I remember like Matt was one of the first people, Matt Schnell was one of the first people that was kind of friendly to me. Now he was one of the better fighters at the gym, and he's 18, 19 years old at that time, and I'm 29, and I'm just But he was a real positive influence. And it's like weird, you shouldn't, like, in MMA or like jiu-jitsu or martial arts or anything kind of point in life, you say you look up to a younger person, but Matt was kind of real, I won't say he was mature beyond his years, but he was dangerous to like spar with. That's why he got his nickname. But like when you weren't sparring with him, he would like show you some stuff, and he would like offer like some positive like encouragement. He wasn't just a punk kid. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, this dude's got a good head on his shoulders. I like him. And so it was kind of fortuitous to meet him and follow his career. But yeah, I was kind of jealous of like them young guys, 18, 19, 20, living with mama, no bills to pay, just fist fighting every weekend. And you know, that's how you get good at it, by doing it all the time. And a lot of them guys were good at it. And I was like, man, I wish I could do that. And then I'm like, then I go home to my wife, who is quite attractive, in my own house, you know, I can do what I want. I'm like, this is pretty good too. And then like you, the older I got, I was like, I got just, the injuries kind of got to me, which is weird to say because I still do jiu-jitsu damn near full time, but I got tired of getting kicked in the head. And after getting, you know, kind of knocked out a couple times, I was like, you know, I'm not getting no faster and everybody else is. You know, I was like almost 37 when I quit doing it, and I was like, and I just told my wife, I was like, yeah, that was the last one, you know. And she was like, good. And I was like, yeah. And I've never thought about it since. You know, I've done some MMA sparring with some of my friends that are still fighting, but as far as like,
how's that feel now? You done it recently?
Not in a couple of years.
Okay.
But it was fun because I knew we were just sparring. You know, I wasn't cutting weight, you know, worried about an opponent, you know, feel like everybody was like watching me. It was like I was just another dude at the gym, you know, putting some gloves on and throwing a few kicks around. It was a lot of fun, you know, and I'm still down to do that. But I've had people ask me like, you ever want to do it again? Absolutely not. No. If I'm fighting you now, we're fighting because you tried to like, you know.
I have to.
You tried to like, you know, take my wife away or something. Like if we're fighting, I'm not interested in getting in my underwear and fighting in a cage ever again.
Well, it's cool because we've had, it's funny because like there's, you know, multiple generations now of people who've been in the sport around here, and it's been cool to kind of see it transform because I guess around the time you and I started, it was fresh here. I mean, there's probably 2 or 3 years ahead of us, maybe. We first kicked off around here, maybe like the mid 2000s, late 2000s. But like, it's just been interesting to see like all these guys and girls come up and become, you know, UFC superstars and transition into, you know, doing other things in life, you know, setting up shows, promoting shows, you know, commentary, all that stuff. But also just it's funny how we all know each other, you know what I mean? It's a very large area. We're in, you know, like a 500,000 metro area here, but we all still seem to know each other because there's only a couple handful of people that, you know, I guess have been in the, you know, that game for so long somehow, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then we all did back then, you know, obviously, you know, you and I kind of lived through some of the quote drama that happened between several of the gyms and the gym owners around here, but which that's what makes Shreveport a small town, because we still had some of that little small town crap in the community. But we used to cross train, all of us, all these gyms, you know, like on the weekends we'd all train with each other. And you know, so when you try to like fight people from out of town, and usually the matchmakers were good about, you know, not putting the local gyms against each other because they knew how we was all training together every weekend pretty much, or even during the week. So like you said, it's been cool to see some of those people come up and make it to the UFC, or even, you know, the big shows like, you know, Bellator, and even like when Legacy was having, you know, big
like we had a lot of people on Legacy. We had, a couple of people went to Bellator. I mean, and then your East Texas guys, we didn't even don't even get. I need to give them more flowers here, you know.
Oh yeah.
You got like, you know, Steve Jones and Derek Krantz, and you know who else? There's a handful of
Kevin
them.
Aguilar.
Yeah, Kevin Aguilar.
Yes, for a long time. Yeah,
all those guys. I mean, they were all coming up and killing it at that same time. You know.
Yeah, it's been kind of a fun ride to like be even just. I'm a minute part of it, but it is like you said. I could say, I knew that guy. He fought in the UFC, and if they called up, you know, one of them boys, they'd be like, oh yeah, I know Rob. You know?
No, it's cool, but it's also it's just interesting to see it evolve, right? Because it's like I don't know what that community is like now because it's different because it's so broad. like you're fighting. Before we were just fighting. It was like you're here against somebody 50 miles away from us. Now you're fighting. You're fighting even at an amateur level. You're fighting people from Brazil.
Yeah.
And Japan, and like you don't know, like it's insane how like the landscape has grown so much, you know, even at amateur level, and then transition to pro, of course. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, you're absolutely
and they
right.
have stats on everyone now, like, and you have all this tape on everyone. People have, you know, just every single fight's like, dude, half my fights never made it to, like, it wasn't recorded. I remember fighting in the middle of a damn mud ride, you know,
yeah,
on a promotion in South Louisiana. I believe it was like, I remember it was Colfax. Yeah. Like some random promotion, you know what I mean? Like that stuff never made like any type of like live, you know, streaming format or anything like that.
I'm glad a bunch of mine aren't, you know. there's probably a lot of videos on YouTube that just, they don't know my name. They're like, random guy gets knocked out in Louisiana. It might be me, it might be somebody else, you know, but yeah, so it's like, you know, It has really, like, even like you said, the local shows here, or that like Matt does matchmaking for, you know, they're broadcast live on the internet for the whole world to see.
Worldwide, yeah.
And lots of people watch them.
And you have fighters from all over the world, you know, competing in there too.
And I'm happy it's grown, even though, you know, like I'm not necessarily in that scene anymore. I'm glad to say I was kind of part of it. I mean, I'm not no big cog in the wheel, but I like to see people succeed that I have come up with and had positive experiences with.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like developing respect for all those people that you train with or worked with or talked to, you know, throughout that whole thing. Like, I have respect for all those guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And girls.
It's just, even the ladies. We've had a lot of ladies around here become professional fighters, which is really cool, you know, and it'd be dumb for me to hate on that, you know, even though like I had none of the success they've had. It's like, why would you not be happy for someone from your area that did well in their, like, I guess, dream or goal or whatever in life? You know, it's crazy. Of course, you know, you deal with that. That's human nature sometimes to not be happy for other people because they succeeded where you didn't succeed. But, you know, sometimes you succeed in other parts of life they don't succeed in, and it all comes out in a wash, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Like, and then you had, like, what do you think about bare knuckle, man? Because that's been interesting to me. Are you keeping up with that or watching that at all?
No,
dude, I love it.
Really,
I love it, man.
I've watched a few fights that people I know have fought on. I was like, man, I'm gonna check this out to support, you know, a couple guys I know. But I mean, it's wild.
It's insane. It's a whole different beast, man. And like, I think everyone that's fought may think that they could do it or like think that they'd be good at it, but like, it's a different style of fighting.
No, yeah.
I mean, it's in the clinch, it's right there, and if you're not, I don't know, man. It's just, if you're in that clinch and you know how to box in that clinch, like that's where the money's at. Like, you just, that's where your highlight reels come from, you know, in that sport, because you got to get close. You know, there's no measuring the distance, like with the kick, you know, and there's no takedowns.
Yeah, no takedown. Like, not a lot of big gloves to block with and defend yourself with. No, it's definitely wild. It's also not for me. Like, if I'm fighting you bare knuckle, like I said, we're in this parking lot and it's because you threw a brick through my windshield or something. That's the only time I really care to bare knuckle anybody. But I mean, mad respect for those guys that do it. Like, we just watched one of them those MMA fights that were on Netflix a while back, and Mike Perry, who does a lot of that.
Dude, that was insane.
He does a lot of bare knuckle events.
He's built for that, dude. It's so funny because he went to the UFC, got cut from the roster, and then, I mean, he just honed his skills in bare knuckle, and he's a gangster.
Yeah, and I'm like, good for him, because there's no way I could do that or even want to do that.
Yeah.
You know, people say that about, I mean, any combat sport. You know, there's people that are willing to get in there and do it, and then there's people that are like, not on your life. It's what makes the world go round, I guess. Different strokes for different folks.
No, for sure. Let's talk about jiu-jitsu, man. So what's that looking like for you lately? How often have you been competing? Like, what's your...
Man, I get after it still. Like, I've got 2 competitions coming up in the next 2 months, one on August 1st and then one in September on Labor Day weekend. Or a competition, it could be anywhere from 1 to several matches, just depending on how it goes. Yeah. I usually compete at IBJJF, which is International Brazilian Jiu Jitsu Federation. It's considered like one of the top level ones. All your a lot of world champions come from there, and of course they make their mark doing other things, even like, you know, your Gordon Ryans, your Craig Joneses, all those guys competed in IBJJF, your Gabby Garcias, and a bunch of names that other people wouldn't know because they're not famous MMA fighters. Fionn Davies, if you've ever heard of her, she was on CJI. I was Mackenzie Dern, UFC champion. You know, she was she's a legend in IBJJF. She might be in the IBJJF Hall of Fame, but
Gabby Garcia, people don't realize. No, a lot of people may not know that chick is huge, man.
She is a giantess. Yes. I would not want to be locked in a closet with her. No. And she's a legit, you know.
No, she's legit.
Multi-time black belt champion. Not she didn't just, you know, wasn't beating pushovers.
No.
But so I mostly do IBJJF tournaments because I always like to test myself against the best or the best people that sign up, you know. And I don't win them all. I've won several. I've lost several. But I love it, man. And the good thing, like in IBJJF, they have not only weight classes. You compete first off based on your rank in jiu-jitsu, white belt, blue belt, on up to black belt. And then you compete in a weight class. And then you also have an age division. Right. So they have basically 18 to 30 is adult, what they call adult division. Then they have what they call masters divisions, which is a nice way of saying old people. Yeah. They call it masters 1 through 6.
It's just like CrossFit.
And it's called old people. They don't have a seniors. They just add numbers onto it. So now I'm in what they call masters 4, which is 45 to 50-year-olds. I competed in, you know, all of them, Masters 1 through. You can always compete down. If you're an old man who thinks you're a badass, you can compete you can compete in the adult division. You can say, "Hey, I'll go against the 20-year-olds," but the 20-year-olds can't compete in the Masters and like beat up all the old men to get some trophies. So, which is cool. It's sort of like, you know, if you're a lightweight, you can sign up and compete at heavyweight, but heavyweights can't compete at lightweight. You can always take yourself up a level, but you can't like punch down, so to speak. Right. And so I love it. I still get after it. It's fun also getting after it with guys your own age. And, you know, a lot of these guys, there's some that they own gyms. So, like, all they're doing is jiu-jitsu for their job. And then you still got some guys like me that have a full-time job and do jiu-jitsu every evening or do jiu-jitsu every morning. So it's a broad spectrum, but it's still very competitive.
Are you doing no gi? What do you like?
I do both.
Okay.
Yeah. Now these next two are going to be getting the gi.
Which you prefer?
You know, the older I get, I like the gi. And I'll tell you why I like the gi now. Because I spent so many years doing MMA and we didn't put on a gi.
Dude, I'm gonna put on a gi like twice. Like,
right.
Yeah, no.
So, and like all those years of fighting MMA, all we did was no gi jiu-jitsu. So like when I got out of that, and it's like, you know, if you're gonna be really legit in jiu-jitsu, it's cool to be good in both. Like even, let's just say like Craig Jones, who's like the most famous person in jiu-jitsu right now. He does all no gi now, but you can look up Craig Jones BJJ gi, and you'll see Craig competing in a million gi matches when he was an up-and-comer. He knows what he's doing in the gi. Now he just does no gi. No gi is more fun. You know, all you need is a spandex shirt and a pair of short shorts and get after it, you know. But it is, I'm going to say, the more athletic you are, because you're going to get sweaty and slippery, and the faster you are, no gi is where it's at. You know, you can use the gi. Like for me, an older guy, I can get a hold of a younger guy and slow him down. So I feel like I have a chance, even if I maybe don't really have a chance, because a lot of them young guys will take all the gi controls and just ratchet it up, you know, faster than I can do it. But it's still, it's almost like, you know, when you pick up a new hobby, like if you did no gi for so long, I picked up gi and it's like, oh, this is what this grip does. This is what I can do with this lapel. Oh, I can grab their belt, whereas like in no gi or like in MMA, like you can't grab that other guy's shorts. Right. But in the gi, you can grab all their material. So it's like learning a new skill almost. It's like going to a different trade. Like if you were like a diesel mechanic for all these years and then you said, well, I'm going to go work on air conditioners. It's like my mind's been like blown by doing the gi these last several years.
Do you think it helps your, like, do you think it's helped your overall performance? Like, have you learned stuff there that you can take back to no gi? Absolutely. And vice versa. Does it work both ways? Or
it does. You just have to kind of learn, you know, like as far as like, obviously you can't grab someone's lapel if they're not wearing one or, you know, or their belt, but you can still, take a lot of those grips, say like, well, maybe I can't hold their sleeve with like a good cat's paw grip, but I can, okay, well, if I take that, how would that translate? Just use a solid wrist control, because you're still putting your body in like the same positions. You're just, you know, grabbing flesh and bone instead of, you know, pants and sleeves.
Yeah. Well, I think it is interesting because like you have some people that like back when, like it was traditional, it's like you have to do gi. You're not gonna, you know, you can't ascend your belts unless you do X amount of matches in gi, and then you know the no gi doesn't really count that much. You know, like there used to be all that argument. Now it's fundamentally changed now, I guess, because everything's broadened, and I mean, of course, combat sports help that. You know. Yeah,
and there's still a lot of that. There's some places they'll give promotions or ranks based on only no gi stuff. And I mean, and that's cool because sometimes you want to be recognized for your advancement in your skill. So I don't poo-poo that.
No.
I've got several friends that are like that. I've got some friends that are purple belts, brown belts, and all they've ever done is no gi. They don't even know how to tie a belt. Now, but they also know, like, yeah, if I went and had to put a gi on, I might get rolled up by somebody with less experience that's done a lot of gi. It's sort of, you got to admit your shortcomings too. You know, like, it's like trying to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a scuba diver. Have you ever scuba dived? No, but I put on a snorkel one time. Well, you're probably not gonna be real good at scuba diving. You know? But
I mean, fair point. So you're not only competing, but you're coaching now too, right?
Correct.
How long did it take you to get to the level of jiu-jitsu you're at now, and then what made you decide to start coaching?
I didn't really decide to start coaching. More of it kind of just happened. Like. You know, your coaches, they're people too, so sometimes they need to take vacation. Sometimes they have stuff come up and they got to like take a day off or sick day, and you know, so they need to have, they've trained up people, and it's like, well, I could trust this guy to like keep the train on the tracks a couple classes. You know, he knows enough. He can, you know, especially like run new people through drills. You know, people respect them. You know, they have a modicum of sanity to be able to kind of herd the cats. That's kind of how I ended up doing it. And then it kind of got more and more frequent, especially now when, like, the gym I'm a part of now, our owner, he opened a second gym, so he had split his time. And so we had to have, you know, some assistant coaches teach certain nights a week. So that's kind of how I got into that. Honestly, I never wanted to be a coach. Like, when some people still come up to me like, "Hey, Coach Rob," or "Professor Rob," like, and I'm like, man, just if I'm out of the gym, just say, "Hey, Rob," you know, don't call me no title name when we're out the gym. You don't really have to do it in the gym either. I'm not one of those people that's like, you got to call me Professor because I'm a black belt. I'm like, no, if you do that out of respect, that's cool for you. I appreciate your respect, but I'm like, I try to keep it casual. But no, I never really wanted to get into coaching. It sort of happened, and then now I do kind of love it because you see people develop and you're like, oh man, that is cool. Like, you can do that even better than I can do it now because you were able to develop that skill faster than me. But you know, I did show it to them, and so I get a little bit of pride out of seeing those guys and gals succeed, and you see them grow. And then it's funny because, you know, you'll kind of fool around rolling with them and you ain't taking them serious, and then before you know it, they got your neck, and you're like, all right, you got me. You got old coach today. Now, that was 1 out of 1,000, but I'm happy they got that one. And of course, they remember that. You always remember when you kind of catch a submission on a higher level person. It is a good feeling, and you shouldn't take that away from them. Now, if they jump up celebrating like they done won the ADCC World Finals, you might want to take them down a peg, but you know, that very rarely happens. You know, most of the time if some people catch me, I'll be like, man, hell yeah, brother, you're doing great, or hell yeah, girl, that's what I'm talking about. I want you to be mean. I want you to be aggressive. Come after me like you trying to win too. Don't be afraid. And if you get me, good. We're going to high five and go the next round. You know?
Yeah. Have you? How long have you been a black belt now?
A year. Yeah.
How long did it take you to get there? Like, I guess like
15 years.
And is that strictly training jiu-jitsu for 15? Or
no, that's my compiled time from when I started, which I started doing no-gi jiu-jitsu and MMA at the same time. So I started jiu-jitsu when I started MMA. So from that time till I got my black belt was right at 15 years.
And that's, I mean, it's respectable, man. It's something that those things aren't given lightly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think mine was a participation award.
No.
Now, there are some people that get promoted off perfect attendance and participation, and that's their coach's prerogative. You know?
Well, it depends on the coach, right? But also, if you have someone that's a world champion, you know, jiu-jitsu practitioner. So, like, we're talking about a different thing here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Versus some other schools potentially, and I'm not talking about locally. I'm talking about just on
just
on
overall.
The full landscape.
Yeah, and then some people they legitimately put in their time.
Right.
Like if you take a guy that's maybe only trained twice a week for 15, 16, 17 years, and he's been consistent, he deserves to have his efforts rewarded too. Now, in the end, he knows he's not a competition black belt, or a blue belt or a purple belt, but you should, like, I hate to say you shouldn't give out participation trophies, so maybe I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, but at some point they're going to learn enough where they could also pass that knowledge down.
If they're showing up and doing it, you know, maybe not as much as you are, but they're not also at a competition level, but they're showing up and doing things, and their knowledge is there. I could see where
they've started teaching classes, and you can see them like instructing other people, and those people get better. Then they deserve recognition in their own way too. You know, there's a lot of black belts that are phenomenal coaches that can't compete worth a damn. You know what I mean? Some people just aren't good at competing.
There's like in the fight game, man. There's phenomenal boxing coaches that just never made it to you know
absolutely
like to any champion status, but the phenomenal. You know, like I've trained with a lot of boxing coaches that are just amazing. Like in it, and same thing with wrestlers, man. Like I mean, a lot. You know, jiu-jitsu artists too.
When you've seen it, just like I've seen it, you know, we would see guys. And, you know, I'm not going to name any names. There's been so many through the years. But you would see people in the gym, like when we would have sparring days, and guys they'd piece up everybody in the gym, but then they'd take a fight and just fold like a launcher, because it is a lot of pressure. It is a lot of nerves. I had so much trouble with my nerves when I first started. I had a couple of straight up panic attacks. I won't lie to y'all.
I did too, man. I was so scared, like for the first handful of doing anything. I was like, that defeated me before I even walked out. I don't know why I had this. It's just like anything else. You have the skills, you have the tools, but developing that is a whole nother creature, because it's like you face adversity in the gym, but like you still like the outcome, I guess. Like in not knowing the outcome and never being put in that position, it freaks people out.
Oh, it did me for a long time.
Me too.
I ain't gonna lie. I think I lost a couple fights on straight panic attack, you know, but that also taught me a valuable lesson about myself, that there's not many sports that are gonna teach you that life lesson, you know.
No, it's there's something about it, man. I think, like, I was gonna bring that up too, like, just it's any of those things, from grappling to sparring, like all those things, like it's the ego equalizer, man. You can go in there at someone at your level, and then someone come in that's a 15-year-old gangster and submit you, you know, in 30 seconds, and you're like, you have to leave that shit at the door, you know, you really do, because these people, like, it's just like anything. It's like, I compare it, because I've been out of the fight game now for a few amount of years, and it's like now it's like we're doing competitive CrossFit, and it's the same exact thing, man. It's like it feels the same to me without the me beating my body to death. I think. I mean, of course, I'm sore and shit now, but it's that's on me. Like, I'm putting myself there, where I'm not letting myself face someone else and get potentially hurt here, or do this or do that, you know, or get in the ring and spar too many times because someone talks shit, and I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna go in there and
then now you
piece
got
them
a headache
up, and then
for 3 days.
And whether I overcome them or they overcome me, it's like, why? That didn't ever help my development skill, you know. It's like, and then it's funny how that, and I think that just comes with age, and not only age but experience, because you could be a 25-year-old with 10 years of experience, you know what I mean? Like, it's different now.
Absolutely.
But like, it took me 10 years of experience in doing all that stuff to realize, okay, well, it's not about who's the toughest now, it's like who can compete and win, you know? And because everybody's tough, you're doing it. You're all tough, you know what I mean?
You don't sign up for a combat sport, or you don't stick with a combat sport, or even like a sport like competitive CrossFit, if you don't have some mental toughness.
You got to.
Anything that pushes your body to the limit that you don't really want them to be pushed. It takes a degree of toughness to be able to stick with that.
And I wish it on everyone. Like, I wish everyone would put themselves in some sort of, you know, and there's a vast amount of other sports they could do that in too. But
Yeah.
like, just running.
Anything.
Running, like getting to that, like running a half marathon, you know, like running a marathon, like doing a trail, like all those things. Like, dude, it's just, I wish it on everyone to experience something like that where you can push your brain, like mentally wanting to quit, but your body's still doing it, or vice versa. You know
being the most uncomfortable you've ever been and going, I'm going to get through this. I got to, you know?
Yeah.
It's a funny story. I'll tell you, a couple of years ago, I was out at Vegas training for Masters Worlds, which is in Vegas every year, which is like my second home. And there's a gym out there I train at every time I'm in Vegas. It's kind of like my second home out there. And I went to a gi class one night out there, and we were doing some training, and we did some 10-minute rounds. It was an advanced comp class, and it was like 3 days before the competition, so I knew I was going to have some recovery time. Well, first round I was with, this is when I was a brown belt, I went with another brown belt that was kind of close to my age. I think he was in his like late 30s, and this was when I was like 41, 42. And we had some good back and forth. I caught him a couple times. He caught me. 10 minutes is a long time to roll with another person.
That's a long time, man. That's a very long time.
So we were doing like 3 10-minute rounds. This was after we did some drilling.
Man.
And the second round, there's this young guy, and he was a purple belt Asian kid. And he's like, "Sir, you want to be my partner in this round?" I was like, "Sure, man. I'll roll with him. I really will." I lost count how many times that guy submitted me, and he's the nicest young man. Every time I tap, he's like, "Are you all right, sir?" I was like, yeah, I'm all right, man. Let's go again. Because I'm like, I'm not just going to walk off the mat because you're I could tell he was on a totally different level than me. And he was a young kid, purple belt, and we got through rolling. And I said, "Oh, my name's Rob." He said, "Oh, my name's Kai." And I said, "Nice to meet you, Kai." I said, how long? He kept, called me sir. I was like, "I wish you'd quit calling me sir every time you whoop my ass." But I was like, he said, I said, "Kai, how long you been training?" He said, "As long as I can remember." And I was like, "Well, how old are you?" And he's like, "I'm 19. And I'm like, "And you've been training as long as you can remember?" He's like, "Yes, sir. I don't remember ever not training." And I'm like, well, there you go.
Got the same amount of experience as you.
And then the next year he won worlds at brown belt in the adult class. And his Instagram is like Kai Jitsu, and he's an instructor out there now. He's a black belt now, and he's just one of those guys that went. He has talent, he has work ethic, and he went to the top. And he's gonna stay. He's gonna probably eventually win a world championship at black belt. And you're like, I go, well, that guy didn't kill me, and he probably could.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. You were still doing it the same amount of time. You just started way earlier.
Yeah,
which I think is really
and
cool.
Talent is a real thing, and that young man has a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And but I still have a lot of fun doing it, and but it will teach you a lesson, because there's a lot of grown men that can't handle getting just steamrolled by a kid and not, what I mean? There's a lot of grown men that can't handle that.
I can imagine, man. And that's unfortunate.
And when I was young, I probably couldn't have. I learned how to kind of temper my, I won't say aggression, but I'm a bad loser. I used to be a really bad loser. Not as much anymore, but I still don't like losing. But I used to be like the worst. If it's Monopoly, if we was losing at Mario Brothers, I was going to hit the reset, whatever it was. I was a bad loser. And after getting your butt whooped enough times in MMA, Jiu Jitsu, or whatever, you kind of learn how to take that and grow up a little bit. Now I'm a late bloomer growing up, but I still eventually grew up and learned to accept that you ain't gonna win them all, but you're still going out there and doing it. And that's, sometimes you just got to take that home with you and be like, well, I didn't quit. I stayed the whole class.
Well, there's those guys that wouldn't roll or wouldn't spar with someone if they didn't think they could beat them. And that shit would frustrate me, because I would get beat a lot. But that's because I wanted to get better. And you can't, if you're the best person in the room and you're not willing to challenge yourself, you're not, when you go to competition, what are you going to do? I remember sparring everybody. And I remember Darnell whooping my ass a lot back when we first started.
Oh, yeah.
I remember.
Darnell's so scared to get hit by.
Dude, he was.
But he's the nicest human being in the world.
Kendrick would piece me up, and he'd be half my size. Chad Leonhardt would destroy me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And he didn't, dude, his 30% was like my 90. You know what I mean? It was like, but I was like, I'm going to do it. Screw it. So you can't say I didn't do it. You know what I mean? Whatever. I know what it feels like now, but I think you have to do that stuff so you're not afraid too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like to face that adversity, to say, okay, well now I know what it feels like to go against someone like 3 times my level. Like I trained with like, I use this word lightly because he was getting ready for fight camp and I was just getting thrown in for rounds. But when I trained with Daniel Cormier, like same thing. Like, dude, he rolled me in a pretzel for a solid 3-minute rounds, and I was just a body for him, you know. But it still was like scary as shit because I'm like, this human being could do whatever he wants to with me, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just here for him to use the body. I'm not here to try to get any kind of ego out of this. Like the fact that I could spar and not get knocked the fuck out, you know, with headgear on, I won.
I'm trying to keep it to where he doesn't choose to end me right now.
I won. Like I'm just trying not to get knocked out. I'm just like here for you to move around and like, okay, maybe all right. And I did something a little too flashy, and he was like, nope, like you ain't doing that shit in here, boy. And I was like, okay, yeah. But that kind of stuff is cool. It's cool to I do miss that, and I say this a lot too. It's like I think I would like to get back into it sometime, but I can't afford that addiction right now. I already have one that I'm fueling. You know, I'm fueling one now with the CrossFit thing, and I'm doing it moderately, you know what I mean? And then I'll do some high rock stuff and some long distance running stuff, but like I'm fueling that addiction with these things. I just don't mentally want to be in that position right now, I think, with you know, but it does sound enticing. Like Josh keeps asking me, when you come roll, I'm just like, man, I'm in a good spot right now. I think I'm gonna stay right here where I'm at, you know what I mean? Doing this, you know,
there ain't nothing wrong with that.
But it's a very respectable sport, and I'd love to see what it's grown into, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, cause I'll go to Jiu Jitsu Con every year, and you know, this big convention center hall in Las Vegas is just full of men and women with cauliflower ear. Half of them are 20 different languages. People from, you know, countries all over the world. It's cool because like I could say, yeah, man, I've trained with guys from Scotland. I've trained with guys from France. I've trained with guys from Japan, China. We've been to open mats, you know, like out there when they're having a big convention, and you know, you can't even speak the other guy's language, but everybody kind of understands. Like, you know, you do the old point the finger, you bump fists, and you can roll, you know, and it's
it's universal language when you hit the mat. You know what I mean?
And that's something I probably wouldn't ever experienced. You know what I mean? If I'd just been not chose to like test myself some kind of way or another, you know. So that's really it's interesting. Like I tell my wife, like, yeah, man, I train with a guy who's from France, and he's here for Worlds too. Like, oh yeah, which thank goodness they can speak English sometimes better than me, you know, because I don't speak a lick of French, you know. I should be more educated, you know. I feel bad some of these people are so much more educated as far as like speaking languages than we are. I'm a little bit jealous, but you know, I think if I applied myself I could learn it too. It's just one of those, you know, like you said, I'm good. Unfortunately, I guess I choose to be a little ignorant as far as that goes, but
no, I'm the same way, man. I've learned a little bit of Spanish and then I like fall off and like I'll say I'm going to learn some more, and then I don't, and then you don't use it, and you don't remember half of it. It's kind of like the guitar, man. I don't even play it anymore. I have it, but it's like I forgot half of what I've known. You know what I mean? Because I don't play it anymore. We're
easily distracted. You know, it's sometimes it's just
a lot easier now to be distracted than it used to be.
Oh my God, yeah.
I feel like I had a lot more talents, like just like useless talents, you know, 20 years ago versus now.
Right, absolutely.
Everything has to mean something now. I feel like I don't know why, but I think our time's more valuable. I think we see it that way. So it's like, everything I do is with intent. I'm sure you're the same way. It's I have intention behind this. Even if it's sitting my ass on the couch for an hour, there's an intention build up to me doing that, right? It's like, I got all this stuff done. Okay, I'm going to sit down and watch a show.
I know. I do that all the time too. And then like my dogs will want out and I'll be like, I just sat down and I sat down for 1 damn hour in this house. And like, it ain't a big deal. No. But you know how sometimes at the end of the day, like, all right, I'm going to watch 2 1-hour episodes of my show and then I'm going to go to bed. And then you're like, I got to get up. why do I gotta get up? I should have done this before. Or it's something stupid, like, you know.
Well,
but it's amazing now what we like.
Well, it's just, I think it's another thing with age and experience. Like everything is, we're done. It's like I have intentionally doing these things now. Like when you're younger, you're just like going with the flow, you know, whatever. You know, you don't have all these different responsibilities and things to do, and you know, everything's on a calendar and scheduled out. I don't know if yours is. But
mine is. No, it's crazy. Like even us.
You
trying
told me
to
that 20 years ago, I'd be like, what? You know, what are you talking about? Or 10 years ago, I'll still be like, what? You know?
Yeah, it's like even us just trying to schedule time to do this is taking forever just because we're both busy people. And it's like, yeah, man, we both got like jobs and, you know, other commitments. It's, as you get older, you know, I can kind of see why so many adults were tired all the time.
Yeah, it's funny. But the jiu-jitsu thing, I think everyone should know it. At least the basic fundamentals. I mean, what, like just being able to subdue someone or keep from getting hurt, like it's very impressive what you can do when you use someone's force against them. You know, and people don't understand that. You know, like when you see a little street brawl or something pop up, and you see, and I'm not talking about just fist fighting. I'm just talking about from the go-to in fist fighting or two individuals that don't know what they're doing, swinging fists. Eventually, someone's going to try to, you know, put them in a headlock.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Someone always
an overhook, not an underhook, which is the worst thing to do, anyways. Because you're not. It's like, you know, what they're like this, and you try to do this. Like, I mean, like just.
Yeah, almost eventually in every like little fight you see, unless one of the persons knocks the other person out, they're gonna end up in like a weird football tackle trying to get them to the ground. And then what? What are you gonna do if you do hit the ground? What if your head hits the ground and it shouldn't? Now you're asleep on the sidewalk because you tackled somebody
or killed somebody. You know, like believe it or not, I've used some techniques off like out of the gym or whatever to subdue people before, like when getting in, because I used to be bad about getting altercations out drunk and stuff, and the more I learned, the more I realized I can use this to subdue this person, not hurt them, calm the situation, and nobody's getting arrested or what, you know, whatever. Like that, I'm not saying everyone go do that. I'm just saying I've seen it.
Don't go out and try all your moves, people.
Don't try out and try to choke, like guillotine someone or whatever, or like whatever, rear naked one. But like it does work and can prevent a lot more like issues, I think, you know, especially specifically like self-defense, people like who are in a scenario where they don't really want to hurt an individual. Like it's also funny, the more you learn, the more you respect it.
Oh, absolutely.
Most people.
Yeah.
Now, there are people that
there's jerks in every walk of life, in every sport,
but
in every gym.
I see most, like 75% of people that I know that are some type of martial artists, they respect that martial arts, and they're not out there trying to like beat the hell out of people, you know. That normal people that aren't you know, a worthy opponent of their, you know, skill set.
And even like people get into it in like the community. I mean, you've seen it when you were training. I still see it, you know, all the time. Man, tempers flare up in the gym, man. Every once in a while, a couple guys start going too hard, and it's a real fight. And then, but normally, you know, everybody calms down after a few minutes. But every once in a while, you do have him dust ups, and you know, coach or somebody has to come in and be like, all right, now knock it off. Or okay, you know, back in the old days, but all right, y'all just fight each other till y'all get tired and then go home. And then I've been on the giving and receiving end of that, and it didn't always work out in my favor. And then you kind of learn, like, well, now I got to see this guy tomorrow too.
That's the ego thing, man. It's like that dude's my partner.
We all have
my training partner.
You know?
He's not my enemy, but like it happens, you know. But like just out there on the streets, man, it's I think like every police officer should know it. You know, I've had this conversation. I feel like I can have it now, but I've had it multiple times with like Greg, my cousin, Greg Walker. You know, I'm sure you know him.
Greg.
And so like we've had that conversation, and I mean he's huge into jiu-jitsu now. He used to fight as well, and like he's been a police officer for quite a amount of years now too. But like I just think like that's something that everyone should know in that, especially in that field. You know, but I feel like if everyone knew just a little bit of fundamentals, there'd be far less, you know, scenarios where people were, you know, getting in these spats.
I agree. It's, you know, I like it when we get, like, I say cops. I don't mean cops derogatory, but law enforcement that start training with us and they don't know a lot, I like to mess with them because, you know, I'm 170 pounds and I'm 5'9" if I stand on my toes. I ain't a big cat. So I love it when we get some of like the bigger cats in and we start grappling with them because I like to mess with them. But like, I'm resisting. What are you going to do? I'm resisting. Stop resisting. You know, I just like to play with it. And most of them take it with a grain of salt. They'll laugh, you know. And then I've had a couple get legit pissed before, but they don't tend to last. Their ego didn't let them last. And I wish they would have.
Well, it's great for them to know, though. Like, and also it's unfortunate because it's not that. It's most of the time there's no funding for that training. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
they have to do it on their own.
Right.
You know, every cop or law enforcement person we've had come in the gym, they're doing it out of their own free time and their own pocket.
So they're willing to try to better themselves and you know, and get. But it's like that's the downfall of like having these large departments or all these different police officers and not having the funds to pay for.
Which I think is wild. I'm not an accountant. I don't know how money works and taxes, but it's wild. They wouldn't have enough because like our gym offers discounts to military and law enforcement, first responders. Almost every gym offers a discount to those types. So you're not only having to, you get a deal, and you mean to tell me like, if you could give me like a checkbox of where my taxes went, I'd be like, law enforcement should be properly trained, whether it's firearms training, first aid,
every single bit,
hand to hand, you know.
Well, it's just subduing
whatever keeps them safe, and also whatever keeps us, the public, safe.
Exactly.
Because
how can you safely subdue someone without hurting yourself or that individual? Right?
Yeah, or you might not have to pull a firearm on somebody if you don't have to. Sometimes you have to, and I don't get into that for sure because I've never been in that situation, but I mean, I think sort of like the more tools you have, the better work you can do.
Yeah.
You know, and we're just a small part of it, but I think once again, how can we not afford that when they can afford it?
No, look, there's definitely money for it, but it's just unfortunate that that's not a priority, you know?
Yeah.
Until something like that happens and the department gets a multi-million-dollar lawsuit because someone did something wrong. It's like, oh, you could use all that money to train someone.
Yeah, or at least it should be an option, you know? Obviously, you can't
make someone
force people to go to jiu-jitsu or force people to go to boxing
but
class.
I mean, the academy has a physical, fitness requirement that could be implemented into it. You know what I mean? A little bit of it, some type of fundamentals, they teach a little bit, but not no.
Yeah. And plus there's so many people, I guess, coming in and out of the academy. You only have so much time, I guess, to train them.
Right.
I'm speaking out of pure ignorance. Well,
I mean, these are all, like I said, I'm not bringing up to try to like combat it. I've just had enough of these conversations on this podcast that people could go back and refer to if they think it's full shit. They can go ask, they can listen to sheriffs I've had on and deputies and SWAT enforcers and military guys. Like they can listen to them say it. I'm just regurgitate that information that's already been said on here.
Right.
But it's a good point, and it's something like it's something that that I always like to revisit because I just think it's essential. But anyways.
I agree. But I'm also like, don't listen to me if you're like trying to know what to do with your taxes, because I'm just some, I'm some character in a cowboy hat on a podcast.
Yeah. Well, what else is going on in your life, man? You doing anything else?
Man, well, shout out to 4th of July coming up. I'm a big fan of America, so hopefully we'll do a little celebrating this weekend on that. It's pretty cool that this is we're doing this on the week, the America 250. That's pretty wild.
What'd you think about the 250 card?
It was pretty wild. I was like, this
fucking
is
crazy, dude.
Something.
First card in history to have every single fight have a knockout.
Yeah.
And then like the live music with the bands, that shit was crazy.
It was wild. Hell, only in America can you put on that kind of like crazy show, like regardless of your stance. And I am not a politics guy. I do not. You will never know how I voted from talking to me or anything like that, because I learned that from my grandpa's. Like, you don't discuss politics and religion. Like, a lot of times if people start getting into those debates, that's when I start going to the car and be like, I'm gonna see y'all later, because I just keep all that stuff private. But I'm like, now, did it look kind of weird to have it at the White House? Yeah. Were a lot of people mad about it? Why? But I mean, as far as like the spectacle, I mean,
for what it was,
all we
they
needed
pulled it
was a
off.
couple like monster trucks to really just
shit.
seal it together, and you'd be like full blown America. And there, but I thought it was wild.
It was crazy. I was just sitting there watching it, and you had all that controversy and whatever. But like you said, like I was just like, this is crazy, and especially if you're a fan of the sport, because you're like, it was illegal 20 years ago.
Yeah, like
Or however,
ESPN
what a year, 20 plus
and all
years
these
ago.
like.
I guess it's been longer than that now. 30 years ago, whatever it was illegal.
Remember, like all the like legit sports networks, they wouldn't talk about it. They
wouldn't
were
touch
like,
it.
"That's human
You got to get it.
cockfighting."
You got to get it
know?
on paper. Like you got to get it on cassette, like from like Blockbuster, like at first, like back in the day, and then you could kind of pirate it pay-per-view, I think, and then. But anyways,
Yeah, unless you had like that one rich kid in the neighborhood who got all the pay-per-views, and you go to his house and watch it.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it was like real underground fighting for years, and then now it's one of the world's got to be one of the world's more popular sports. I'm not saying like I'm not comparing it to like soccer, but I mean as far as like almost everybody in the world knows what MMA is now. Whether you love it or hate it, you're aware of that it's a sport. Which is back then we're like, what? What's this? They're in a cage. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, I just saw Hulk Hogan fight the Iron Sheik in a cage. What are you talking about? That's what we were watching in the 80s and 90s, you know.
Yeah, man. It definitely that blew my mind. It really did.
Oh, it did me too. I was like, I can't believe this is real life.
And then
right
Gaethje,
now.
dude. Oh my god, dude, that fight, it was insane.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what happened to Derek Lewis. I'm disappointed there, but I'm assuming I don't know if he didn't take that opponent like Hoke it seriously. I don't know if his cardio wasn't there. I mean, it's obvious the cardio wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
But still, like, I was hoping for a highlight reel there.
I know. I'm a big Derek Lewis fan.
Oh,
He's just hard to not like.
Yeah,
you know?
I love him, dude. He's great.
He's a cool cat, you know. And I was like, so once again, when I know dudes like that are good dudes, I want them to succeed. And I was like really wanting him to win, but you know, it's fighting. It ain't predetermined. You can't win them all.
No, you can't. The Gaethje fight though, that thing was like that's gonna go down like in one of the best fights I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Like right after it, like someone texted me, one of my buddies texted me. He's like, "Man, one of the best fights I've ever seen." I was like, maybe top 5, and I was like, let me go back and watch it again. I went back and watched it again after like I took everything around it out of it, and we just went back and watched the fight. And I was like, yeah, it's one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, holy shit, dude. That dude, he's been counted out so many times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and he's fought numerous contenders, like so many pay-per-views. I mean, just his performance is just insane, man. That dude.
Yeah, and then you compound that on where you're at. You're at the White House, one of the most known building in America, you know, and you love it or hate it, you're in front of some of the most powerful people in the world, you know. Take your views or your likes or dislikes about it, you know. High-ranking politicians are very powerful people, and you're fighting in front of those people, and you're the underdog, but you're also the American, and you're like, this is like straight out of a real Rocky movie.
Not to mention the tens of thousands of people that are sitting on a lawn watching on like a jumbotron.
That's what I'm saying. And you know, helicopters everywhere.
Whether you liked it or not, the entire probably I don't even. Josh, where you at?
Right here.
Man, pull the screen up for me if you can. I want to see what percentage. If we were to guess the percentage of Americans that watched that fight. Let's pull it up.
Right. I mean, it's not Super Bowl numbers. But
still. Let's see that. Can we get the numbers on that? Because what do we have? 8 billion people in the United States?
No,
that's in the world. Excuse me. How many people do we have in the United States?
300 million, 300 something.
34 million viewers. So
okay, and then how many people in the United States?
4.5% of the American population.
4.5%. I still think it's more than that.
Yeah,
had to be more than that, but still, that's a lot of people, man.
I'm not counting pirates and
exactly. Was that
the entire broadcast? 10.5% of the population at least tuned in for watching one match.
Okay, more than 10% of the entire population of the United States. So that tells you more than 10% of the United States are not UFC fans.
And that's just
that's people that hated it and loved it.
That's probably I'm an idiot, but that's probably like I'm guessing devices. They can't tell you how many eyes were on each device.
Right, exactly.
So it's
Exactly. And
it could be more, like if you say several of y'all are at the house and you got 20 people over there watching it.
Right, that's only one device. So yeah, you're right. Well, how many
I might not be right. Don't take
is
my
that
word for that.
Well, no, I'm saying that's
But
a
it's
good
just
point.
something to think about.
That is a good point though, because so how many is that the most viewed card ever in the history of the UFC?
Let's see.
I'm just curious. I don't know, like when stuff like this comes up, if I don't immediately say, hey, let's check it out, I'll forget about it. And it's like, that's a good point, especially if we're just like, I wonder, well, let's find out. You know what I mean?
And the only reason I brought up the device thing is because
It was this one.
This one. So this is the largest fight card ever viewed in the history of the sport.
yeah.
And I'd be damned if it wasn't on the White House lawn.
I'm just like,
UFC 229 Khabib versus McGregor.
Yeah, that one was huge too.
yeah. And speaking of that one, I watched that at a local restaurant that I won't name because I don't want him to get in trouble. Because there was one guy that had it on his phone that was broadcasting it on the TVs at the restaurant. So there was like 200 people there watching it off one guy's phone. So yeah, they probably didn't get. Dana probably didn't get the bill on that one. So I ain't gonna out the place I go to get.
But that was that's been almost 10 years, huh?
That was October 2018.
Yeah, it's close. Yeah,
Time flies, man.
it's crazy. It's really crazy, man. But it's been interesting. Like just full circle. The what the sport that you're so well versed in has done for that sport, and just all of it, and then the whole community of it. It's just it's cool to see develop, man, to what it is now, and just be one little small part of it's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It's even just to be like a little bitty thumbtack in it to me is still cool.
Yeah.
Like, because not everybody gets to do that
No,
or chooses to.
no, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I can only imagine like how many people want to, and just that's another thing what I like about jiu-jitsu, man. It's like you can get kids. I mean, my nephew's starting it. He's like 5 or 6 years old.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you get them in it early. Like you can boxing, but that's a little more adverse. You know what I mean? But like getting them to just roll around on the ground and start learning fundamentals at that early age it's pretty cool. There's not a lot. Yeah, you can do it in Taekwondo and karate, but we're not talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
We're talking about stuff that we don't have to get in a competition to apply, like skill set that they'll have forever, and also teaches them how to deal with aggression, anger, adversity,
deal with losing.
Exactly. All that stuff. You don't get that at baseball. You know what I mean? I don't think.
Not always. I mean, you go
Maybe you do, but not individualized though, right?
Yeah.
You're still a team sport.
when it's just right there, like just you and just another person, and you're like, yeah, that person got the better of me today, or I got the better of them today. It's that
or just showing up and doing drills and not wanting to. Like pushing yourself, listening. The discipline aspect of it.
Yeah, the individualness of it all is very. It's just you can't really. I can't put a word on it, but it's just something in your brain that it triggers where you're like, oh yeah, this is real. I can't blame. Oh yeah, he dropped the ball. That's why the football team lost because the corner didn't.
That's what it always is. That's what it always is.
Oh, me too. Hey, you think when I blew a coverage when I was playing football, it wasn't somebody else's fault? Of course it was. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, that was your guy.
Yeah,
Why didn't you cover?
Yeah, man, you're supposed to have me. I thought you had that guy.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's cool. That the one-on-one things. I mean, it does something for you mentally, for sure.
Yeah, it's a trip. Like I said, when I was fighting here locally and, fighting at some of the casinos, there might be like a couple thousand people. I can't imagine walking out in front of 10,000 people like these guys do when they fight at T-Mobile or something like that. I can't imagine, I might piss down my leg, I might not have. But just even walking out in front of a few hundred people can be, a life-changing experience.
It is.
Because they're all, unless they're in the bathroom, they're all watching you either get knocked out or choked out, or if you win, awesome job too. But you know what I mean?
You suck.
Then they're talking about how they could whoop. Then they're
there we go. Oh, I could have
done that.
What the hell happened? I remember I got submitted. My grandpa's there before he died. He come to I think it was my last fight. I got caught in a triangle and I messed up. And you know how that happens. It messed up. And you're like, son of a bitch. This is my last one. I'm going to win it. I was doing good, fell right into it, and it was in it, and I only had like 13 seconds left, but it was in. It was either that or go sleep.
Yeah.
And my grandpa after was like, I don't understand why you tapped. I was like, well, it was either that or go sleep. And I was like, he's like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, it wasn't just I tapped because it hurt.
Yeah.
I would have stayed there for another 15, 18 seconds, whatever it was, if it just hurt, No, it was either that or I'm going to sleep and getting brain damage, Like, do I really want my ego? No, I don't give a shit. I'd rather just tap. Hey, you got me, buddy. Yeah. That's it,
I'll never forget, I got choked out one time. I was fighting down in South Louisiana, and I got put all the way to sleep. In fact, I woke up trying to double.
Did you get caught, or were you being hard-headed?
I got caught, and he snatched it up pretty fast.
What was it?
It was a guillotine.
Yeah, dude, those happen quick,
It
too.
just, and then I apparently woke up trying to take down the ref, and so I was bad embarrassed, and then as I'm leaving, go change my clothes, all that, and walking out, I could hear some people like, yeah, that guy, what a effing idiot, man. I could beat him. And I'm like, yeah, man, why don't y'all try getting in there, as I walk around the corner. But then I'm like, what am I going to do? Fight a bunch of drunk dudes?
Exactly.
And it's like, I was like, yeah, it's pretty embarrassing. And I just kind of kept walking on towards the truck. I told my wife, let's get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? Because last thing I need to do is shoot my mouth off after I done embarrass myself. You know, because hell, they probably didn't remember that.
Hit some drunk dudes. They're never going to do it in the first place anyways.
They talked about it at work on Monday, and then they ain't remembered that for the next 20 years. I remember that because I embarrassed myself, but it taught me a good lesson, too. I never got guillotined again. So
I got guillotined. I got guillotined one time.
Or not in a fight.
I think it might have been rear naked. No, it was rear naked. It wasn't guillotine. But it was a similar scenario. He had it, and I was like, I'm not going out. You know what I mean? But that's where I really started focusing on jiu-jitsu more a little bit. Just to I never want to pursue it as a sport, but it's just like get me out of these positions so I can get into a position that I'm dominant in. And so it did help a lot. And that was when we were training like Christian Fulgham was up there with us. Leon Hart was up there. Dan Arnett. Like I was training with those guys a lot back then. Because I got embarrassed and I was like, I'm never getting fucking rear naked again. Like I don't care what happens. Like I'm gonna learn how to transition and get out of this. Like I'm not letting someone take my back. Fuck that. You know what I mean?
Or at least not without a fighting tooth and nail.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm not saying it's not gonna happen, but like my mentality was, you're not letting that happen again. Because now you know what to do. You know what I mean?
You're gonna apply yourself to all the knowledge you can gather to not let that happen.
And at an amateur level, it's good. It's good to learn those lessons. That way, it don't happen at a pro level, or if it does happen at a pro level, it's a well-deserved. You earn that. You earn that submission. It's a different conversation than falling into something and not knowing what to do.
Exactly. That's like competing now at black belt versus when I was competing at lower ranks. You're like, yeah, man, that guy's good too. He's a black belt also, and he, like this last one I went to in Dallas a couple months ago, I lost by 2 points in one of my matches, and I just couldn't catch up with the guy. He ended up sweeping me, and which was worth 2 points, and I never could sweep him or finish taking him down. And we scrambled a bunch. You have to like stabilize a position before you score points. It's not just like, oh, you fell down, or oh, you tripped them, or oh, you got on top. You got to maintain it for a certain amount of time before they score points, and neither one of us could get a submission on the other. And you're like, hey man, that was pretty fun after a 5-minute match. And like, yeah, he got me up by 2 points, but you know what? That guy's been training 15, 20 years too. So sometimes it's easier to like kind of let it go because you've both devoted all this time to it. It sucks to lose. Would I like to win every time? Absolutely.
Well, it's not the same as like, oh, I didn't know that. Why did I not know that? I should have known that. That's the conversation you have with yourself after a loss at a earlier stage.
Oh, absolutely. When I first started fighting, doing MMA, and I didn't know any takedowns. I didn't know how to, and I was getting taken down by all these people. I was like, I gotta find me some wrestlers and learn how to wrestle. And I found some guys that were here in the Air Force that were on the Air Force wrestling team. I was like, teach me everything, or just teach me anything. Basically, it wasn't teach me. I could never learn how to wrestle on their level, but they took their time and took me in. And of course, I was a willing participant too. I was like, I'm gonna be the old man getting his ass whooped by these young guys. I was their practice dummy for a couple of years, but I learned a lot. And so I was like, well, now I don't get scared if someone tries to take me down, or maybe I could take somebody down there. And I got good at takedowns there for a while, and it helped my MMA career. But yeah, when I first started, I was like, I couldn't. It was like learning how to swim.
I was the same way.
Doggy paddling. Didn't know what I was doing.
I'd only boxed and grappled enough just to like learn a Kimura or a damn armbar. You know what I mean? Not much. And it's like, you take me down, I'm just like, I need to get back up. you know?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, it is interesting, man. It's cool. It's cool, those development skills. And yeah, like you said, over seasons of time, after you learn, you become like a veteran in that sport or that art. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I respect it, and it's different now. And it's like, okay, here you go. Do respect. You know what I'm saying? Mutual respect for that person having the same, time or more in it, and then you two just hashing it out to see who's a better guy that day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's way easier to deal with, or at least I think it is.
Well, let's wrap this thing up, man. Anything else you want to drop? Anything you want to talk about before we close out?
No, man.
Any shout outs or anything?
No. If you want to come, hang out with me at Jiu Jitsu, I'm at SMAA Jiu Jitsu. It's called Synergy Martial Arts. The website is sbcjujitsu.com. I teach every Thursday in the evenings, Thursday Thunderdome. If anybody wants to come check it out, come on in. You don't have to sign up to come do one class. And anybody in the whole area is welcome to come. We usually we go at a pretty fast pace on Thursdays, because most of the time people that come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if you're still coming on Thursday after you done trained all week, you want to be there to scrap. So we're not, we ain't trying to kill each other, but we are going hard. We're going at a high pace. It's not going to be, it's not for the faint of heart, but we got beginners in there from their first month to guys have been doing it, 15, 20 years. So there's a place for you. And of course, you can come any other day of the week. We got lunch classes, a couple of early morning classes. There's something for everybody. If you want to try out jiu-jitsu, come hit us up. And like I said, we ain't one of those you can't train somewhere else too. Like, I cross train all over the country, what I mean? And it's not a cult as far as that goes. There's some gyms that are like that, but I don't know any of in this area. I don't know any that are like that, but I have heard horror stories of other gyms, they're like a cult, like, you can't go cross train over there or there, blah blah. No, come on, man. Wear your gi from your school. Be proud of what school you came to. Just come and train, man. It'll be fun, and if it ain't fun, you ain't got to come back,
Yeah.
So definitely want to encourage that, and then that's really about all I got.
Cool. Awesome. Well, good time catching up, bro. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah, man. Anytime, man.
All right, man. See you next time.
All right.